Now let's actually dig into looking at some very simple examples of writing some C++ programs. Now I want to go over one thing here. I started to make this a three-part video, but I thought that might get kind of cumbersome, especially when you're trying to come back and use this as a reference. You wouldn't see the titles. So I'm actually going to break this up into three separate videos. But we're going to talk about really the two options, and really there's three, but I don't want to go too far with this. But the two main options that you have when you're writing C++ programs. And then when you add that into the Bill Gates world with Visual Studio and that whole Visual C++ Express world, you have a lot more options. And so rather than confuse you, I'm just going to kind of show you some of these as we go through here. But your two main options anytime you're writing C++ is that you can write with the ISO IEC version of C++, which means, I already mentioned this in a couple of other places in the course, so I'm just going to review it quickly here, just so you'll know that I realize I'm repeating myself. This will compile to native code, all right? Most of the examples in this course are going to be ISO/IEC C++ code, because that's what you're trying to learn here is the C++ code. And I want to really dig into that stuff. But we will write them as console applications in the Visual C++. Now this is something I wrestled with. Do I want to use this Microsoft Visual C++ Express tool? And in the end I decided yes, because it's freely available, it's very popular, you'll see it everywhere. Now C++ nerds, or like any other nerds, you're going to meet people that when you mention the Microsoft coding environment, Visual C++, they're going to start throwing furniture and screaming and ranting and raving, and you have to call the nice men in the white suits to come help them out, all right? But still, that's a very popular platform. It's very easy to get it. We don't have to get into a lot of nerd issues on releases and so forth. We still have nerd issues, but you've always got nerd issues in IT, okay? But to make it easy for everybody, that's what we're going to do here. Now the other version, and this is kind of cool, is in the Visual C++ Express environment that we're going to be working in, we can also write C++/CLI. That simply means C++ code that's being managed by the Common Language Runtime Environment, Microsoft .NET Framework, and all that stuff, all right? Now there is a third option that I really don't want to count, but I got to mention it here, and that is Windows-based C++ applications. In other words, we're going to write a Windows application, and we're going to use the C++ language to do it. And I may even throw a quick example in here to let you see it and see how different it looks, just so that you'll know what you're looking at when you see one out there or when you try to write them yourself. But understand that Windows adds its own complexities to the programming environment and world and management and memory management and so forth. So we don't want to wander into that in this course. It's going to really be outside the scope. We want to concentrate on the C++ language and get you comfortable with, when you look at it, understanding what all these asterisk and weird symbols and all this stuff that's going on looks like hieroglyphics when compared to other languages. All right, so with that, let's go take a look at the next 2 or 3 videos, just some simple examples to help you understand, first of all, how to manipulate Visual C++ Express to get the actual code that you want, the program that you want out of it, and then look at some minor differences, and I want to talk about some tweaks and some gotchas to help you along.